Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Just waiting for, maybe a couple of people to just jump on, starting this live Facebook seminar. My name is Marina Shepelsky. I'm a family attorney, a divorce attorney, and we also do a lot of immigration in New York and New Jersey. I'm here today with the amazing Alex. How do you pronounce your name in English?
Solomon. Yes.
Solomon. He is the founder of Alex Solomin Fitness. And we are here today to tell you how to finally get on track with that health journey, with your weight loss that you've been putting off. I know I do that all the time. Maybe next year, maybe next month. When you're afraid to go see your doctor, if you're my age, and you already are starting to go see doctors, and you're afraid what that blood pressure and that sugar is going to be, and you know the truth, but you're afraid of it, and maybe you don't even get on the scale. Like, I haven't even gotten on the scale for years. I was afraid to weigh myself. So here we are. Alex and I decided to combine forces and do a live seminar for you, how to get on track with your health, your weight loss, how to start feeling good inside out. And even if you're busy, working, stressed out, dealing with a divorce, if you're one of our clients, dealing with an immigration thing, you got a lot going on, you have a busy life, but you need to put yourself first. Where do you start, Alex? Tell us about yourself and where do you start?
So what you just said about being afraid or being scared of stepping on the scale, that's that's something I can resonate with tremendously because so my backstory, I was 365 pounds when I was younger, right? I'm 6'4", so I'm tall, but I was very, very big, right? And I avoided stepping on the scale for years because I was just afraid of just what's that number going to look like? Because I knew that every time I stepped on it, it's not going to be something that I was excited about, right? So I not only I avoided stepping on the scale every single chance that some or every opportunity somebody told me, hey, step on the scale, whether it was for school, at the doctor's office, whatever it was. So I just avoided it. And speaking of doctor's offices, I hated going to the doctor's office because every time I got there, same thing as the scale, it was always not the news that I wanted to hear, right? So I was 365 pounds, and there was specifically one moment that changed pretty much everything because even though I avoided going to the doctor as much as possible, I just had to go once because I needed like a checkup for something. Maybe it was like a job application, whatever it was. And I went to the doctor and he told me, he said, listen, you're 365 pounds right now, right? You have a fatty liver, you have very high triglycerides, you have very high blood pressure, you have a fatty liver, and you're pre-diabetic. So if you don't change something now and just start losing weight any way that you can, you're going to die before you hit 30, right? And that's not anything I've heard before, right? It was kind of like just punched me in the guts, and it was very just difficult
My
to.
mom is a registered nurse. She told me there is no such thing as pre-diabetic. If you're pre-diabetic, you're diabetic. I'm just letting
So
you know.
that means I was diabetic, and I left that doctor's office feeling very different than I did before, right? Because before, when it's kind of like the mentality of you wanting to do something and you needing to do something, right? So before I wanted to lose weight, like yeah, it would be interesting to lose some weight, maybe I'll start feeling better about myself or stuff like that. But now it's like I need to lose it because I left the doctor's office just imagining on the things that I would miss out on life, right? If I was to just die young, it would be just like what would I miss out on? Having kids, traveling, meeting a spouse, all that stuff. It was just something that would not be a possibility because I was not in good shape physically and emotionally, and just my internals were just terrible, right? So I had to change something. And then after that point, I just started doing whatever I thought was going to help me to lose weight. Whether I had no idea what I was doing, it was just me and Google, right? And whatever I tried, even though some things worked, some things didn't, but it was very trial and error, you know.
And listen, if anybody out there is afraid to get on the scale, you're pre-diabetic. drop a 1 below so we know you're watching. Because there's so many people I know personally who are in that, mindset, who are dealing with that. If you're pre-diabetic, if you're overweight and you know it, if you're not feeling good, once I was in this weight loss program and I learned that people who are really overweight, and if you have a fatty liver, like Alex said, you also have a fatty brain. Did you know that? Did you know that overweight people have fat cells swimming around in the liquid, in the fluid that holds your brain inside your head? So not only, I'm serious, not only is being fat bad for your health, blood pressure, this and that, it makes you more lethargic. It makes you a slower thinker. It affects even your brain. So if you're, if you've been there, drop a 1 below.
Yeah, it's what you said about being lethargic or feeling lethargic. I remember just having no energy throughout the day. I always had like brain fog, right? I couldn't focus a lot of times. Maybe I came home after whatever I was doing, I just crashed. Maybe I woke up and I just felt like I didn't wake up, right? Maybe I woke up and I felt like I should be going back to sleep, even though I slept 8 to 10 hours, right, on a weekend or something. So my energy was not there. Never mind all the physical complications, right? Not fitting into clothes. I used to avoid certain stores, like certain aisles in different stores, because I knew that I had no business being there, right? But all
How
these
about the
things,
airplane? That belt on the airplane, it barely closes around me.
yeah, that was a big problem too. I just didn't fit into whether it was airplane seats, maybe it was bus seats when I was going to school or going anywhere, right? It was just difficult because what ultimately ended up happening is that over time, I didn't know the repercussions of eating certain foods. I didn't understand the effect certain foods and the quantity of the foods have on me. So I, I ate food to make me feel happy, right? I didn't understand what will happen over a long period of time, right? So I used to go out and before school or after school, for breakfast, I used to have like a giant sandwich with cheese, bacon, sausage, eggs, all that stuff, like a giant bagel.
Me
And
too.
I washed it down with I went to Dunkin' Donuts or some kind of other coffee shop and I got a large coffee, which was pretty much like a milkshake with cream, sugar, just everything, and every single day doing that. Lunch was for me, it was regular to eat a few slices of pizza, maybe even a, garlic knots on the side, maybe a rice ball, because I was just in a very bad emotional state because I didn't know how to get out of it.
And also, isn't it cheaper to eat unhealthy than healthy? I find that eating healthy is at least twice as expensive as just grabbing 4 slices of pizza. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, people capitalize on all the healthy eating, and I can see why because it is a better choice. But what's actually cheaper is if you cook the foods yourself, right? People don't like to because they just end up having to eat or just cook for hours. They don't like that, right? I don't like cooking at all. If I can grab something easily and quickly that will fill me up, that's what I want to do, right? Because I'm not a fan of cooking, and I may cook some things once in a while, maybe like every few days, something very simple. But for me, simplicity is key because if you keep making this so complicated, all the recipes, all of the crazy, maybe different foods or just tons of ingredients, you're going to get so overwhelmed and you just fall off because that's not something that you actually enjoy doing. And actually enjoying the whole process is a big part of this. You have to actually make this a sustainable lifestyle because if you just make this something that you do to lose, let's say, 40 pounds, like, and that's it. Well, what do you do afterwards if you didn't make this a lifestyle change so you can actually keep, right? Where do you go from there? You have to actually enjoy the process and understand that this is your new lifestyle. This is something that you just enjoy, not something that you reach and then stop.
So for you, you hit what I call like the rock bottom because you went to the doctor and you were told you are pre-diabetic, diabetic, and that you have a fatty liver, and if you don't lose weight, you might have a heart attack or stroke or so at a very young age. But I had different experience personally, but related. I'm struggling with my weight since I'm like 14 years old. Before we came to the United States, and I came to the United States around 12, 13. I was a regular, like medium-sized child. Then, as we were immigrating here, I hit puberty, and we came here. There was so much food, and there was like such an abundance and such a variety. I wanted to try everything, and to this day, this is like one of my downfalls. I want to try a little of this, and I want to try a little of that, and the other. So I've tried all kinds of diets, and I kind of made peace with it over the years. But what started me on my health journey that I've been on since last August was that I had tremendous back pain. I was in so much back pain. I couldn't like drive. Driving, I was crying driving, and I went to the doctor and he said, I'm going to send you for an MRI. You probably have a sciatic nerve or whatever issue. But he goes, every pound that you lose decreases the pressure on your spine. And he was like showing me how, like, when something is pressing down on like a stick or like a pipe, which is your spine kind of, and you take off one block, then 2 blocks, and 3, it decreases the pressure. And he explained to me that the pressure goes up as the discs go down. That's why the back gets it the worst, because it's all the way on the bottom. He said, even if you lose 2 pounds, you're going to start to feel better. And you need to stretch. So I found yoga. When I started doing yoga, I realized the fat is bothering me. It's in the way. It's like as I'm lifting, as I'm stretching, as I'm doing my twist, my belly's in the way. This is in the way. And then I started to look for ways to eat differently. So how do you suggest somebody like myself or anyone who's watching, who's busy running around, kids, jobs, extracurricular activities of kids and yourself, where do you start? Like, how do you start to eat healthy? Because I feel like for people who are really overweight, and we discussed, you and me, right? You start with the weight first. When you're really big, you start with dropping weight.
Yeah. So great question. So what you just said about, coming to this country, immigrating, and starting eating all these different foods because you're open to them and you see all the nice foods that you're not used to. I went to the same thing. And I started putting on weight exactly the same way. I started seeing the glazed donuts in a wrapper in the grocery store. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. McDonald's, all that stuff. But
pizza.
Exactly, pizza too, and a big reason why people gain so much weight is because they always look for things that are closest to them, that are the easiest to eat. And because people want things out of convenience, right? So when things come, or they want things out of convenience, the things that are closest to you will not usually be the best for you, right? For example, let's say you're on the road and you're hungry and there's a pizzeria in every single corner. You go to a pizzeria, you grab 2 slices, or you go to a grocery store, you get some whatever munchies just to kind of cure the hunger. But that's the same approach that I tell all my clients, is you have to make the foods that are closest to you, that are easiest to make or just to grab, very good for you. For example, if you're at home, say you come home after work and you're extremely hungry and you have nothing prepared, right? The things that will be accessible to you is likely things that aren't the best for you. It could be, let's say, ice cream in the freezer. It could be chips, cookies. It could be just a loaf of bread that you put some, I don't know, cheese on, right? Whatever it may be, because that's easy and it's simple to grab. What I tell everyone is make sure that you surround yourself by foods that keep you aligned with your weight loss goal. So when you come home and you're very hungry, that when you do reach for the food, it's not food that goes against your weight loss goal, but it's foods that help your weight loss goal. So when you go to grab something, instead of a loaf of bread with cheese, not that it's bad or anything, there's no bad foods, but that's not good for your weight loss. So instead of grabbing that, maybe you're going to grab, for example, some apples. Maybe you want to make a wrap with deli meat. Maybe you want to grab some Greek yogurts. Maybe you want to make some protein pancakes, maybe a scramble, right? Something that's very easy to make but tastes good. And you want to.
It sounds like you need to prepare to have all those things in the house.
So as far as Yeah,
Do you need like a grocery list maybe? Should you start with a grocery list? Because that's what we did. We got rid of, we started to have grocery lists all the time, ongoing lists that we keep like adding to.
so as far as preparations, I usually cook, let's say once or twice a week, right? And when I cook for a few days in advance because I hate meal prepping. I think it takes up way too much time. So my thing is I want to have a whole bunch of food that I enjoy eating that I can just pick from and eat without any kind of preparations. Maybe on a Sunday and a Thursday I'll make some stuff. Or if I don't make any things, maybe I'll go out to a grocery store or a supermarket and I get like a rotisserie chicken or two of them because I can eat a whole thing in one sitting, right?
That's a
But
very good tip. Buy a rotisserie chicken
I'm
because you
serious.
can make a chicken salad. We use it all. We do this all the time. We
Hmm.
buy a rotisserie chicken. We buy pork chops, thinly sliced, raw. We buy some chicken wings, whatever. And sometimes we just buy marinated, pre-prepared chicken, raw, because my kids cook at home, and it's important to me that my kids eat healthy just like I do.
Hmm.
So I try to buy things that are easy to cook, even if you're gonna cook. Like we have an air fryer, super easy to use. 7 minutes, 8 minutes for a chicken breast. It's almost like it's grilled, but it's fried, so it tastes good. Try to make things super easy for yourself, so that if you
Yeah.
reach in the freezer, you have your chicken there and not your ice cream and your frozen pizza. You know,
Oh, I have ice cream
rotisserie
in my
is a great
freezer.
idea. Yeah.
I have some ice cream in my freezer just because, I try not to restrict myself completely. Right? Maybe it's a little Halo ice cream, but something to just, make me happy when I eat it, right? But all in moderation. I don't restrict myself from anything. I look at food as not in a good or bad food light. I just look at food as food and food as energy, and the whole rotisserie chicken is just one example of how to make this easier for you because the whole process is not going to be easy, right? Anybody that says it's going to be easy is probably lying to you because it can be easier, right? But you have to figure out ways to make it easier. And a big way, something that will actually help you make it easier is by making it simple, right? And how do you make it simple is just by make things that you reach for, you know, be in alignment with your goals. For me personally, I love to eat different kinds of Greek yogurts, not plain Greek yogurts, but actually with fruit in them, um, various fruits, right? I have a bunch of fruit in my house because when I come home or any part of the day and I start reaching for things, I want to make sure that the things that I reach for will help me stay on track, right? It could be deli meat, right? I have these. I actually introduced all my clients to use wraps. They call Joseph's lavash
You know,
bread.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen them in ShopRite, by the way, but you can
yeah,
also order them on Amazon.
yeah, and just simple things like that. But what makes it so helpful is that when you grab it and you make a wrap and you eat it, that is so much better for your goals than grabbing like
Yeah,
ice
bread,
cream,
like
cookies,
white
bread.
bread. Yeah, or
Yeah,
a
well,
bagel.
exactly. A bread with or a bagel with the same exact ingredients will be like 4 times the amount of calories, right? And it's all about making this as simple as possible because if it's simple and not complicated, you'll be just so much more consistent in reaching your goal.
Yeah, so we buy almond flour wraps. We buy in Costco these like egg wraps. They're really
You showed
good.
me.
And I buy the low sodium ham, which is like 97% fat free. It's really
Hmm.
lean. We buy turkey, and my kids like it too. And sometimes we buy prosciutto too. I mean, I like prosciutto.
Yeah.
Um, we buy sometimes a rotisserie chicken. I buy tuna packets because I throw them if I do have a salad, which I try not to have every day because I get sick of salads.
Me too.
I try to have something to take with me. If we have a salad, we have an air fryer that we use on a regular basis, and my kids use it too. Even like to throw some broccoli and some um, cauliflower, like florets. We break it in
Hmm.
florets and just season it, throw it in there. It's really quick. I am not a
Yeah.
good cook. I don't know how to cook really, and I don't have the patience for it. I bring to work hard boiled eggs, 2 eggs sometimes as snacks. It's better to
Hmm.
have a hard boiled egg than to have like chips,
Hmm.
or
A hundred
something like
percent.
that. I
Yeah.
buy the plain Greek yogurt, 2% or 5%. I don't do fat free usually, but
Yeah.
I'll add stuff to it. What you mentioned, fruit or nuts, not a lot, like a little bit. So because
Mm-hmm.
remember about calories too. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have to count calories, but you have to be aware
Of course.
that if you're gonna eat like this much nuts, you're gonna gain weight. It's normal. That's what
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tricks, and I constantly like I find that immersing myself. Like I follow people on Instagram, paleo life, keto life, and all this stuff for ideas because I have no ideas myself. Like I have zero imaginations with food. I like to eat it in a restaurant, but like just cooking everyday life. So I immerse myself. I watch people like you know, like you. I watch all the time, and if you are already on keto or paleo, drop it too below. I'm trying to engage with you guys because I really want people to watch us and get the benefit and be healthy. And I find that it, you know, like if you're going through a hard time in your life, it's also a good distraction to worry about your health and start working out. And do you know anything about the endorphin stuff? Like I heard that if you work out, you start to feel good. How does that
Yeah.
happen?
So as far as like getting into a good headspace, maybe sometimes you're going through, let's say, hardships. Maybe it's relationship hardships. Maybe just you're going something through something emotionally. And I've gone through this myself. I can't tell you how many times. And what ultimately ends up happening is when let's say I go to the gym or I work out at home, whatever it is, the first step may be very difficult because you just don't want to do it. But once you finish, the endorphins and just everything just starts feeling better, right? You end up feeling so much better than when you started that everything else just seems easier to handle, right? Your stress is greatly reduced. Your frustrations are, not as severe as they used to be. And people don't realize how much of a stress reliever working out or just, you don't have to lift weights, but just being physical and just sweating a little bit, how good it makes you feel afterwards. Yeah, you're going to be sweaty, you might feel disgusting, but what matters most is just the way that you feel mentally because it's just it's a stress reliever. You have time to spend for yourself, right? People a lot of times they put themselves last, right? And when you put yourself last and put everybody first, you end up just getting into a worse place physically, emotionally, all that stuff. But once you start putting yourself first and you get a little physical, you go to the gym, maybe you work out at home, whatever it is, the way you feel afterwards is not comparable. It's kind of like I don't know how to compare, but maybe if you've never drank coffee before and then you have your first cup of coffee, you feel amazing because wow, I feel great. But the endorphins are super important, right? They make you feel
And
amazing.
I think it's important to be like kind and patient with yourself too. Because
Hmm.
again, I can write a book about all the times I tried to lose weight and all my attempts at weight loss. But I noticed that every time I start, I want to see results like tomorrow morning. Like I
Hmm.
had a salad today. I want to get on a scale tomorrow and lose 5 pounds.
Yeah,
And I went to the gym today. I want to see minus 3 pounds in the morning tomorrow. But it doesn't happen. It takes time to put on that weight and then it takes time to take it off.
yeah.
So what do you say to people who are like impatient? How do you deal with that? It's not a battle. It's not like a short sprint. This is like a long marathon. And you have to
Yeah.
kind of make peace with that. How do you deal with that?
So a lot of my clients are not patient, and it's normal. Everybody, it's human nature to want to see results immediately, right? And what I usually tell people is, how long have you been trying to lose weight for, right? Most people say years. And I tell them, okay, let's say you've been trying to lose weight for the last 2 years or 5 years. Let's just say 2 years, for example, right? That's over 100 weeks. And throughout those 2 years, you've tried different kinds of diets, you tried supplements, you tried gimmicks, fads, and you got yourself nowhere because you wanted so much results so quickly, so suddenly. Well, what if instead, let's say you lost half a pound a week over 2 years? just half a pound. Nobody wants to lose half a pound. They want to lose 2 pounds, 5 pounds a week. They want so much. But I tell everybody, if you just lost half a pound a week, right? Over 2 years, you would have lost over 50 pounds. Most
Yeah.
people don't have 50 pounds to lose in the first place. So the importance of taking baby steps and taking small wins and making that very important to yourself is extremely important, because you can be consistent in losing half a pound a week. It doesn't seem like a lot, right? Consistency is everything. You have to be consistent throughout the whole journey. And the best way to be consistent is by not making drastic changes suddenly, by seeing slow results, because you can maintain that. If you lost five pounds a lot, let's say 3 pounds or 4 pounds a week, right? Over a month, that's over 10 pounds. Who can consistently lose 10 pounds a month all the way to their goal?
Most people end up gaining it all back. No, it's
Exactly.
possible. Like a lot of diets that restrict your calorie intake, like 21 days, people who do hormones. I've done it. I'm just saying. And some others, they say, okay, you can only do 5 to 600 calories per day. My doctor was telling me this week that if you're just alive, you burn 1,000 calories a day. Do nothing. You could be in bed for a day.
Yep.
So if you're only eating 500 calories, of course you're gonna lose weight. The
course.
problem is the following week when you go back to the, the non-healthy way you used to eat, and you're gonna gain it all back very quickly.
Exactly.
Because the body likes to maintain equilibrium. It likes to stay in the same shape and the same weight, and it kind of draws everything to that. So the only way to lose weight is over time and consistency and doing it over and over again, the same thing over and over again. But how much weight did you lose personally?
So personally, I lost 135 pounds. I went from 365 to my lowest of 230 pounds. And before anybody thinks anything, it wasn't done in a year or two. It was done over a long period of time. Majority of the weight was...
Repeat that again. How many pounds over how long?
135 pounds, and the majority was lost. I would say about 80 pounds over 2 years, and the rest, the other 50 or 55 or so, was lost over the following 4 to 5 years, because I was trying to figure out my comfortable weight, what I felt, comfortable in, what I looked the best in, what I felt I looked, or how strong I was. Maybe it was how good I looked, stuff like that. So it was always a factor of dialing in what I want to ultimately reach. But it was 135 pounds, and actually 2 of those years
you lost the weight of like an average sized woman. You've lost like a whole human being in weight.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
amazing. And so tell me, I know that we've talked about your life before the show, and you told me you had a very nice, stable corporate job, and you left it, you jumped out without a parachute to do your own thing, because I know how much you love helping people be healthy and lose weight. So what are you doing now with the Alex Solomin Fitness? Where are you at now?
So I am an online weight loss coach. I do for people what I wish would have been done for me when I was starting, if that makes sense. Because when I was going through my own transformation, I always wanted to, it was always a dream in back of my mind to one day be able to help others reach the same success as far as weight loss and health as I did. But it was always like a dream. It was always like something, that would be pretty cool, right? And recently, I made the full transition to doing this, and I couldn't be happier. And I help people lose weight in a way that they create lifestyle changes that are sustainable. I don't tell people to do anything crazy. I teach them the working methods, because I did what didn't work. I tried the supplements, all the various meal replacement shakes, just the different kinds of foods that you have to eat, right? I tried the keto, the paleo, the Atkins, just all that stuff. And that's what I don't teach. I teach people how to do things that they enjoy, that they can see themselves doing for the rest of their life. Because if you just do something that somebody tells you have to do to lose those 30 pounds, let's say you lose those 30 pounds. Like, what do you do afterwards? Can you see yourself realistically eating chicken and broccoli for the rest of your life? Can you consistently or seriously do keto for the rest of your life? That's from 99% of people that you cannot sustain that.
Yeah, you can't
So
sustain. I cheat
no,
on weekends all the time, But
yeah,
it's me personally. It's taking me longer than I would like, but I do see changes, and I am going down in weight, and I see how my clothes fit. Of course, I wanted to go from whatever double-digit size I had to a one-digit, but I see that it's going to take some time. Um, what I also watch you sometimes explaining how to exercise correctly, and I think you should explain about that too, because what you said actually made sense. I was watching one of your you probably lives. I think I was
yeah,
watching one of your lives on Facebook, and you said that it doesn't make sense to just run on the treadmill for 45 minutes. There's a
yeah,
different way to do this. So tell me about that. You have your own approach to exercising to lose weight
yeah.
too.
So the reason why I say nobody should be doing only cardio for weight loss is because I did only cardio for weight loss, and I lost a whole bunch of weight, but I hated every single day of it. I used to do cardio for about an hour to 2 hours every day
Oh my
while
god.
eating chicken and broccoli and just the egg whites and the brown rice every day, the typical stuff. But after I lost the weight, I didn't like the way that I look. I was very skinny. I didn't have any muscle on my frame. I didn't. The whole point is to enjoy or like the way that you look. And for most people, you want to have some kind of shape to yourself. You want to have some muscle. You want to be stronger because you may lose the weight, but if you don't like the way you look, you kind of exactly where you started minus the weight, right? You want to
Also, it's not
be
sustainable. Most people will not run on the treadmill for an hour to 2 hours a day. It's just not
no,
going to happen. At
exactly.
most, I used to be able to squeeze out 45 minutes when I used to do it. And that was already like a lot. I was bored. I was sick of it. I hated every minute of it.
Hmm.
But what's a better way to do this?
A much better way is what I like to call putting your fat loss in autopilot. And a big part of that comes down from putting on weight as far as muscle. Because what you talked about before, your basal metabolic rate, which is pretty much how many calories you burn by just not doing anything, right? If you don't put on any muscle, you will burn, let's say, for example, 1,000 calories but not doing anything. If you put on some muscle, now you're losing, let's say, 15, or you're using 1,500 calories but not doing anything, which just means that you can eat more, right? You can eat more and lose weight. So in order for you to put your weight loss or fat loss on autopilot, you have to put on some muscle mass, because people think that, especially women, if I pick up a weight or a dumbbell or a barbell, or I lift some weights in any way, I'm going to become bulky and I will look like a man. That never happens, ever. It's just a stereotype, because you will never
Well, that's
become
a
too big.
lot to look like a man. I mean, you have to be in the gym weightlifting big, big weights for many, many hours.
On top of that, you also have to take some extracurricular hormones to get to that level,
That's
right?
right.
That's a big
Oh
part of it.
my
People don't
god.
realize. But you have to just put on, let's say you put on 10 pounds of muscle. You will not look big or manly by any means, because those 10 pounds of muscle may look like or sound like it's a lot from me saying it, but 10 pounds of muscle on a frame doesn't look like that much. But even though it doesn't look like that much, number one, you will look better because won't be so just skinny and out of shape, but you will also burn more calories throughout the day just by having extra muscle on your frame. So you have to, I'm not saying everybody should lift weights a certain way, because you have to make this as enjoyable for you. So if you want to, for example, try a different kind of weight training routine, whatever it is, as long as you put some kind of resistance training into your routine to build that muscle, you will ultimately end up keeping the weight off, because muscle takes more calories to keep its size. For example, a pound of fat takes way less calories to keep its size than a pound of muscle. So if a pound of fat takes, I don't know the exact numbers, let's say 3,000 calories to keep its size or whatever it is, or a pound of muscle may take 4,000. right? I'm way off with the numbers, but I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah. So the more
Just
muscles you have, the more calories you're burning just by being alive, just by
exactly.
yeah, that makes sense. So you want to put in some muscle, you want to do some weights or some weight training, or some people do Pilates, push-ups, natural stuff.
Mhm.
Putting on muscle creates more cells to burn calories with. That makes
Mhm.
sense. And muscle
Yeah.
burns calories in itself. So how does somebody find you? If somebody wanted to hire you or talk to you, get a consultation, advice, how would they find you?
So you can find me on Facebook at Alex Solomin. You can shoot me a message. Follow me. I put out daily live videos where I teach people as much as I can, all the things that I did before that you shouldn't do, because a lot of this is about doing things that saving yourself time from just not doing the stuff that's out there somebody might preach to you that has no effect for you. So you can reach me on Facebook, shoot me a message, add me as a friend. And yeah, I only do weight loss for people because that's my passion. I truly enjoy helping people just become the best version of themselves via not only weight loss, but changing your whole mindset throughout the process. Because even if you lose the weight, but your mindset doesn't change, you will never feel like you're actually accomplishing as much as you wanted to. So it's a multi, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, I like to call it, and mindset is a huge part of it.
So it sounds like mindset is really number one on our list.
Hmm.
And in my personal experience, it's also your habits, what you like to eat every day. If you really wrote down every single thing that you eat every day, you had a food diary, and you were honest with yourself, and you honestly wrote down what you ate, every candy you sneak in, that Sneakers bar. When you're running low on energy, I usually have a cup of coffee, and then I realized I had 3 cups today, and that makes me hungry sometimes too. And
Yeah.
you write down when you ate late, what did you eat. You really start to understand where your problems are if you really start paying attention to what you
Yeah.
eat. This is where
Yeah.
you start. This is what I did. I
Hmm.
spoke to a dietitian when I just started, and we realized that the reason I personally used to overeat at night was because I had a small breakfast. Then I wouldn't even have time to eat lunch at work. Or if I did eat, I'm that busy. Like, I don't even have time to go to the bathroom sometimes. And if I did eat lunch, I would try to be healthy and eat a little bit, like I would have a salad with some grilled
Hmm.
chicken. And that's it. I would get home at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I would be super hungry. And I was hangry. I was hungry and angry that I'm hungry. And then
Yep.
I would just eat whatever. Then at that point, anything goes. So we realized that I should bring snacks with me, healthy protein type snacks, high protein, low carb. So I started with the eggs and the yogurt. It's good if you have a refrigerator at work and a microwave. It makes it much easier.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't, I had some friends tell me, because when I started out, I used to blog about this a lot. They would say, okay, Marina, buy a small fridge for yourself and put it in your office, a tiny one. You could do that. And you don't have to be like other people. You could put your lunch in your own little personal fridge. And I started to do that, and that really changed. Now when I get home, I'm still a little bit hungry, but maybe now I can have a little salad at night, not for lunch. And
Yeah.
eating a bigger lunch and including more like protein in things that I eat, because that's what fills me up. But the important thing is to eat what you love, not what somebody's telling you. Like grilled chicken every day is not going to last. No one is going to want to eat grilled chicken for the rest of their life.
Oh yeah.
Um, so and it takes preparation. We start with mindset. Then you mentioned, having a plan, like an eating plan, like having what, like a food plan or a diary.
So
Like, how would you suggest to go about doing that?
so my approach is different. So I don't tell people exactly what to eat because I teach people how to make the right choices by themselves. Because
Okay.
if you are always relying on somebody's advice of you have to eat this food at this time, you have to eat this food at that time, you can't keep that up for the rest of your life. But
Right.
what I teach people instead is how to make the right choices, right? You have to understand your body and how many calories it needs, how much nutrition it needs. And once you truly understand that, you're able to go out and look at food not from a perspective of bad or good food, but you can look at food as I can eat this much of that, or I should eat maybe a little bit less of that. But you're open to all the options, and that will gives you that comfortableness in the, if that's a word, or freedom of just choosing the
Yeah,
foods
so
that
that
you
you
want
know
to eat.
when to pick the right thing. If you're in a restaurant, you know what you should order, not because
Yeah.
you're on a diet, but because you want to nourish your body and you want to feel really good. I've discovered since I pretty much dropped most carbs, like most simple carbs from my
Hmm.
diet. So now I don't eat bread, I don't eat pasta, with rare exceptions. Like I don't also like kill myself with this. So if I go out and I really want like once a week a pasta, I'm gonna have a pasta.
Yep.
But generally speaking, 95% of the time I follow this kind of a diet. So I try to plan. I actually do try to plan ahead. Like for some families, they have Taco Tuesdays, so they know, on Tuesday they have the healthy versions of tacos, right?
Yeah.
Or like, I'll tell the kids when I go to work because now they're so independent, they can cook on their own. So I said, today, please cook the marinated chicken and some broccoli, and I mean they'll add whatever they want. Or I'll say, you please make the pork chops, and we'll use the almond flour or like those kinds of breadcrumbs that are not really breadcrumbs and other things like that. Planning is a good, part of this, in my
It's super
opinion.
important. It's
Yeah.
extremely important.
And eating things that are going to fill you up. So now I think about what I'm going to eat that's going to fill me up so that when I get home from work, I'm not going to be like raging, starving maniac.
I love that you
Nobody wants
mentioned that.
that.
No, I love that you mentioned that because the biggest, one of the most important approaches I teach people is volume, right? Volume of food. You have to eat more to lose weight. Everybody thinks you have to eat less, but you have to eat larger volumes of food because if you keep eating like a rabbit every single day, by the time you come home, and you've experienced this yourself, you're gonna come home and just start eating everything that's easily accessible to you, and those things will not be the best for you. So you have to eat more throughout the day. That's extremely
Yeah.
important. But
You have
but
to eat more, and you have to eat the things that will fill you up and prevent you from being super hungry late at night. And I also, since I started to eat this way, I have trouble with alcohol. Not that
Mhm.
I used to have a drink on the weekend. I used to have some wine on Friday
Yeah.
night. I get really sick now from alcohol,
Mm.
and that's a new thing. It's almost sad because alcohol used to make me relax a little bit once a week, or
Yeah.
twice a week, but now it makes me feel really sick. I mean, I can still have some wine once in a while, but if I have like a shot of something heavy like bourbon or vodka or tequila, I get super sick. Like I get really sick. I get like poisoning now from that.
Mm.
And I think it has to do with diet, eating clean. Your body really cleans itself up when you start to give it the right stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that could definitely happen. And I wanted to touch on what you said before as far as planning. And planning is extremely important, especially if you're going to work, for example, and you don't bring anything with you. I always tell all my clients, if you're going to work, even if you don't prepare any food with you, just make sure you bring something with you to eat at work. Because when you're so hungry at work, or you work extended hours, you're going to eat the thing that's closest to you and that tastes the best, which will not be that good for you. You're going to order pizza, you're going to order any kind of fast food, whatever it is. So just bring something with you to work. It could be as simple as yogurts and fruit. It could be a wrap, just something for work so that when you are so hungry and you reach for food, it's the food that you actually brought with you instead of calling on the phone or driving by a drive-through and just ordering something.
And another thing I learned on days where I really don't bring anything to work, which happens once or twice a week, then because I get tired of bringing food to work, I will order 2 meals, not one, 2 meals when I'm ordering food. And I try, or like I'll order, let's say, a main course. Let's say I get some grilled salmon with veggies on the side, right? I also will get like a large volume of soup for later, or in reverse, I'll
Hmm.
eat the soup now, I'll eat the salmon later. Because again, I learned that if I only get the salmon with veggies, by the time I get home, I'm going to be really hungry. And I didn't bring any snacks with me, and maybe I don't have anything at work. So,
Yeah.
so I will order two, portions of something, so I could eat that 4 hours later or 3 hours later. And then by the time I drive home, it takes me another hour and a half to get home. I'm not like starving. And the other thing sometimes I do is I will buy certain things like wraps that I eat or lunch meat or whatever, and I leave that at work in the fridge, or like a
Hmm.
yogurt, like you mentioned, or some nuts in my drawer. I try to have healthy, or like I'll bring a bag of baby carrots, you
Those
know,
are good.
and yeah, and not everybody works in a place where it's easy to order healthy. So sometimes it does require some planning. And exercising, Alex mentioned, don't necessarily kill yourself with running on the treadmill. Do it smart. Call Alex if you want to talk to somebody. He has a lot of good advice. And I feel like when you need to lose a lot, like I have to lose quite a lot. Get a coach like Alex. Get somebody to kind of report to. You need somebody to be accountable to almost. And I know we're all adults here. Everybody knows what to do. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to do it successfully up until now to change something. And one of those changes could be getting a coach or like a workout buddy, or just start being healthy. Live a long, healthy life. You don't want to be old and having to take 12, 15 kinds of medications every day. You want to be old
Yeah.
and healthy, because medicine will get you to old age, maybe if you don't have a stroke or heart attack, but it's not going to be like a high quality life if you're really
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
So on that note, I would like to ask Alex to just give us some last minute tips and wrap up our show, and wish you
Yeah.
all to have a good day.
So I want to give somebody just some easy, simple tips that you can start doing today, just to start seeing yourself go in the right direction as far as weight loss, right? So super simple. If I had to give somebody some tips right now, is what we exactly just talked about is when you go to work, just bring something with you. It could be, let's say, fruit. It could be a wrap. It could be yogurts. Buy a cooler and put some stuff in it, right? Because you don't realize this, but if you were just to do this thing, which is preparing foods, or just not even preparing, just throwing it into your bag, even if you don't eat it, just the fact that it's there that you can eat later when you want to, it helps you so much over a long period of time. Because most people, they order food, they drive by a drive through, they pick up food, they don't realize it, and they end up eating a few thousand extra calories. When instead, if they would have had food with them, they would have had maybe 500, 600 calories because of the food they prepared or they brought with them. That's number one, is just bring something with you. You don't want to be stuck in traffic, so hungry, so frustrated, your head hurts, and the closest thing to you is a gas station or a drive-through, and you go in there, you get a large number three or number six, and you just eat it while you're in the car, right? You want to make sure that you're eating foods that you can feel comfortable about and know that you actually brought this and it's fine to eat it. Number two is don't drink your calories, right? Don't drink your calories. It's very, very simple to take in extra calories throughout your day by drinking them. For example, maybe it's juices, maybe it's soda, maybe it's adding sweeteners to your coffee or your tea, because this will not fill you up at all, but it still has calories in it. And doing this every single day adds up a lot. For example, if you add, let's say you have a 100-calorie drink once a day. It's not a lot by any means, but over a month, that's 3,000 calories. That's almost a pound, right? That's almost a pound you're taking in by having a 100-calorie drink or 100 calories worth of sweeteners, creamers, whatever it is don't drink your calories, right? And the last tip is, this is very important, is make sure every single meal that you have has some kind of protein, because you need protein for recovery. It fills you up and it digests longer. But make sure every single meal is focused around, where am I getting my protein from? Because protein is the hardest one to get in. You can always eat the fats and the carbs. Everybody loves eating carbs, but protein is never the easiest one to take in. So whether it's by a scramble in the morning, maybe it's, let's say, Greek yogurt, which is my favorite. It could be different cuts of meats, chicken, burgers, whatever. Just make sure you realize where.
Low-fat cottage cheese is also a good one if you like
Yes,
that. We
absolutely.
also buy this Turkish yogurt called labne. It's like a little salty. You can
Hmm.
use it for dipping your carrots or whatever veggies you like
Yeah,
to cut up. Also, you could just eat it by itself. I would put sometimes a little garlic and cucumber in it, and it's like a
that
good
sounds
dip
really good.
or a sauce for chicken or whatever you like, or fish, or even pork. We eat pork. I mean, I know I'm Jewish. I'm not supposed to, but we eat pork, but we eat lean pork too. And once in a while, we eat veal and beef as well, and get your protein in as much as you need. It's probably better to have a steak than put like lunch meat on a roll or hero with mayo and a soda. Okay,
Yeah,
if you just have a steak with some veggies and water, you won. You did better for your body. So I
yeah,
feel like red meat has bad publicity. It gets bad PR. You just have to
yeah.
be smart. So we ask you to be healthy and smart. If you can't do it yourself, please call a professional. I have, a trainer for yoga. I work with Alex for weight loss sometimes. I work with a dietitian sometimes. Like, I'm always surrounding myself with people who are keeping me on track. I also talk to a psychologist because a lot of people who have weight loss issues, like who can't lose weight, it absolutely has to do with your anxiety, with your bad eating habits. It has to do with your childhood trauma and all this other stuff that we all carry around. But a lot of it is stuff that happened to you when you were younger and you're still kind of repressing through eating
Hmm.
unhealthy. So take
Yeah.
care of yourself. Give Alex a call if you want to start on a healthier new you. Follow him on Facebook. I do. I watch his videos almost every day. He has little shorts with good tips. And I wish you luck and success. And if you're going through a divorce or you have an immigration question, give us a call. But if you want to get healthy, Alex is here for you. Have a great day,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Take care.